Hi folks, I'm Steve, editor of Kitchen Garden magazine, and I thought it was high time we had a look around the polytunnel and the greenhouse to see what's going on. Quite a late season, as I'm sure you'll appreciate, so had to wait till now, which is mid-June, to really show you what's happening, to have some things to show you. But plenty going on now. Season's caught up. We've had some really hot weather, which has brought things along, and I think they've more or less caught up. So let's have a look round and see what we've got. Okay, well, we'll start with something a little bit unusual. This is just borage, which has come up on its own, self-seeded, which it often does on in the soil, in the polytunnel. Absolutely beautiful. Bees love it, hoverflies, that sort of thing. You wouldn't think so now. I can't actually find anything there at all, but over the last few days we've had all sorts of insects on it. I think we can just see something there. All sorts of insects on it, pollinators, and it does help to get them in and help pollinate your crops, so I don't mind it at all when it will just stay there until I need the space, not taking up very much room. Good in drinks too, ice cubes, put the flowers in ice cubes, that sort of thing. Next to that we've got some spring onions, which were sown earlier in the year, coming on okay. I always find spring onions a little bit slow, but these won't be too long until they're ready to harvest, so coming along nicely. Next to them some beetroot. This is one called Pablo F1, and advantage of an F1 variety is that the seeds usually only produce one seedling, so there's very little thinning. These have been really slow this year, sown a little while ago, but just coming through now. And I'm hoping that we'll get some beetroots off of those before they bolt. So we have had some really high temperatures in the last week. It's a little bit cooler now, but that hasn't helped them, and I'm just fingers crossed they don't bolt. Next to that we've got some garlic, which was autumn planted. Got plenty outside as well. This was just a little experiment. This is Provence White, and it's great variety, but we thought we'd put a few inside just to protect them from things like the leek moth that you get on lots of alliums, which is quite prevalent in this garden, unfortunately, in lots of gardens now. So hopefully that might just keep them at bay, and we've probably got about another month's growth in those before they keel over and it'll be ready to harvest, so I've got hopes for them. In between those we've got a few dwarf French beans here, which are growing well, and they're just a gap filler really, so that hopefully by the time the garlic comes out, the dwarf beans will be taking over. And in between the dwarf beans we've got some shallots, they're banana shallots. Again, more outdoors, just hedging our bets. We didn't know what the season was going to do, so put some indoors, some outside, and they're doing quite well. I think they're going to bulk up quite well. They do seem to be gradually bulky, so plenty of little stems there, which hopefully there'll be a shallot bulb on the end of each of those. Next to that we've got some rocket. We eat an awful lot of rocket in this family, so there's plenty of rows here and there just coming up. Usually do them in short rows because it's hard to eat enough before they start to bolt, and lo and behold, in the hot weather they are starting to produce some flowers. I don't know if you can see those, and still edible of course, and I do sometimes even leave them to flower, and you can collect the seeds, and the pollinators again love the flowers. The flowers are edible, so it's not the end of the world if they do bolt, but the leaves do, and stems particularly, do start to get a little bit tough. So short rows, and sow them little and often basically. Next to those we've got some Potimarron heritage pumpkins, or squashes I should say, sort of onion squash. Early stages, haven't been planted long, probably about a week. So I've never grown them before, so I'm hopeful for those. And again, some indoors, some outdoors, just to sort of hedge our bets, and if it turns out to be a cool summer, then perhaps they'll do a little better in here. Moving on down, we've got some peppers, and these are very late this year. Been very slow. These were sown in February and kept indoors for a long time. They struggled on, and eventually we managed to plant them out probably about 3 weeks ago. excuse me. Several varieties here. Californian Wonder, which is a nice sweet pepper. Got a growing there, got another one coming along there, and grown that before. Nice compact plant, and again, let's say lovely sweet peppers coming on those. I think they're starting to pick up and grow away, which is good. Next to those we've got one which I've grown quite a few times before, called another sweet pepper called Popti, and that's just a small pepper. That'll be a nice orange red when it turns, and quite prolific, so freezes well too. Wasn't so long ago we used the last of those out of the freezer from last year's crop, so that's Popti, that's a nice one. And next to that, the only hot chilli I'm growing this year is one we gave away with the magazine actually, and it's called oh, here we go, Long Slim. Let's see if I can find some of those for you. Yep, they're just there, and coming along nicely. And again, you could eat them green, of course, with all peppers, but hoping that we'll get some ripened to red. So there we go, some more long slim peppers. I say they were free seeds on the magazine earlier in the year, so looking forward to seeing how they go. Got peppers on this side of the polytunnel this year, which is alternating with tomatoes. Planted tomatoes on this side last year, but to try and sort of rotate crops as much as you can in a polytunnel, got the tomatoes on the other side this year. This year mostly beefsteak tomatoes. I rather overdid it with the cherry toms last year, and since I'm the only one who eats raw tomatoes in the house, but everyone else loves sort of tomato soups and ketchups and pizza toppings and pasta sauces, growing a lot more beefsteaks. So we've got quite a mixture here. Costoluto di Fiorentino, apologies to any Italian speakers listening. Grow this one a lot. It's that nice sort of almost ridged red beefsteak tomato, absolutely lovely. So I've got sort of 6 plants of each thing really, each one. And we've got one an F1 hybrid that I've never grown before, which is called Country Taste. All these, by the way, this year growing up strings, which go up to wires at the top of the polytunnel, and they wrap around. See if I can show you the bottom of the plant, right at the bottom there. Can't see that one very well. I'll move over to this one. Just literally just tied around the stem at the bottom, that's all. And you can tie it around the root, you can bury it under the root ball as you're planting if you want to, but that's what I've done this year. And of course you gradually twine the plants around the strings as they grow. Moving up, so yeah, Country Taste. We've got some others, was Cordoboe, which is another lovely beefsteak type, which I like. One here is, which I'm looking at right at the moment, is Cherokee Purple, which is again a heritage type. I've never grown it before, but a few seed catalogues were doing it I think this year, and thought I'd give it a go. So Cherokee Purple, we'll see how we get on with that, and I'll do a write-up in the magazine on that one a little later in the year, I hope. Right at the end here, more and more tomatoes. But right at the end is the one cherry I'm growing this year, and this one's Yellow Mimi, which I grew last year. Possibly the strangest name for a tomato. I'm not sure, there are some pretty strange ones, but a gorgeous tomato. It was a really lovely little yellow fruit, really sweet, absolutely gorgeous. So I wanted to grow that again this year. It's just 6 plants of that, but any I can't get through. Also made some lovely sauces as well, so absolutely fine. Over our heads we've got the Grapevine, which I hope we can focus on. It's got some nice flowers coming on it, and it's just a black Hamburg, you can see there, the little flowers, which will eventually be the grapes, of course, and that's been trained up the hoops of the polytunnel and along the ridge, I'm hoping. Had some lovely grapes last year, really nice. And of course, if you can't get through them all, you can juice them. The roots of the grape are outside, and obviously the growth inside. And what I do is just to wait for a bunch, some flowers to form, and then cut back the stem about 1 or 2 leaves after that bunch of flowers, just there. And I'll have to cut it back again because there's new growth come up since I last trimmed. So with grapes you can literally be trimming every week to keep on top of them and keep the growth down. But you can see we've got quite a lot of flowers this year, so hopefully that will translate into a lot of grapes. Got some strawberries hanging up here, just 3 baskets full, and these Maradabois, which I think is the most lovely strawberry, my absolute favourite. And unfortunately there are no fruit because we like them so much they get picked over virtually daily. So we've got those, and this keeps them away from the squirrels as well, growing them in here. Oh, I tell a lie, we might have a little fruit in there, focusing, but it is just a little fruit, but absolutely delicious. Maradabois, and the bees have been in pollinating, so hopefully we'll have some more fruit soon. And then I'm just going to swing you around, which is always horrible on camera. We've just got some Tumbling Tom, so it's just a basket full of Tumbling Tom, only recently planted, again planted about a week ago. Every day I'll come in and just give them a tap, just to transfer the pollen, and no pinching or anything side shooting with these of course because they're a bush tomato, whereas with these others they'll all need side shooting because they grow up the strings. And the same with the strings here, once they start flowering, which hopefully will be very soon, I just give the strings a tap and that will transfer pollen on the flowers. I've got a few flowers just coming. Of course you get pollinators in as well, which will help us out. But as I say, quite late this year. So that's the polytunnel. I'm going to swing you around now, and we'll have a look at the greenhouse and what's going on in there. Not too much in the greenhouse. I've got some aubergines, which we've got in these large pots over reservoirs of water. Just 2 varieties. Another one which again was a freebie on the magazine, which is long purple. So that's a sort of older variety, as it says on the tin, long purple fruits. Being an older variety, it's still got those quite vicious spikes on the, which I'm often catching myself on the flower stalks, and also on some of the leaves, some of the undersides of the leaves, or on the stems. Lovely purple flowers, and got high hopes for those. We've got 4 of those, or 3 of those rather, sorry. And then a new variety here. This one is called Green Knight. Never tried this one before, as I say, I think it's pretty much brand new. More compact plants, spineless, so if we have a look at the flowers, you'll see they've bred out those vicious spines which you can catch yourself on. Just starting to flower, not actually opened yet, so early days, but so nice compact plants, getting plenty of branches, side branches, so I'm hopeful that that will mean more flowers, more fruit, and we'll let you know how we get on. So more of a sort of green Knight, so it's a green fruit, this one, a very pale fruit. Looking forward to trying that. A bit of basil on the floor there. And then just a few odds and ends really. We've got some more peppers coming on. We've got a melon, and this one is a heritage type called green nutmeg. And you can see it's very early days. It's got a long way to go yet, but that will be just about ready to pot on now and get up some stakes. So hopefully we might get some heritage melons this year. A couple of cucumbers which are quite pathetic really. Pissandra, which is a lovely variety and grew well last year, but it's been very slow this year. But it's early days, and we'll get some nice fruit. Cucamelon, I tried these a few years ago and I thought I'd give them another go. Produce those lovely little sort of grape size cucumbers really, or sort of little tiny fruit, looks like the size of a grape. Just growing it up a few hazel sticks cut from the garden, and lovely just to toss into a salad. Literally just cut it in half, don't peel it, just cut it in half, toss it into a salad. Absolutely lovely. Got a few late tomatoes here from some seeds that I was given. This one's Potentate from a KG reader, never grown it before, heritage variety, not seen the seeds anywhere, but he very kindly sent me some. They're quite late sown, so hopefully we'll just have time to get some fruit off of those. And then another dwarf heritage variety called Lillyput. Show you here. Variety called Lillyput, again quite small. It's a Seeds of Italy variety, that one. It is an F1 hybrid, which is quite unusual for them, but it's one that they like so much they stock it, and it's a compact upward growing variety, small cherry Tom, which I'm looking forward to trying again, one I've never tried before. And then just a spare there of Tumbling Tom coming on, and another new variety. I've got some more of these in a pot up on the patio, and this is one called Summer Last, an F1 hybrid, again compact patio tomato. Never tried before, so we're giving that a shot this year, and we'll write about that in the magazine, I'm sure. And then there's just a few odd pots of tree chilies, which again late sown, but they're coming along nicely. And that's a perennial variety, so I'm hoping that we're going to keep that over winter and get some nice big plants, nice big productive plants from those. They don't look much like it at the moment, but I'm sure they will. Just going to move over onto a few things to show you outside on the veg plot, so we'll go out there. Now, I warn you, it's a bit wild out here. We're getting into the rewilding these days, so leaving much more for the birds and wildlife and everything else. In fact, I think I set up a little wildlife camera only a few days ago, and we had 3 foxes, so 2 cubs and the mother fox. So it's quite wild in parts of this garden, but very productive. So we've got blueberries here, which looks like we're going to get quite a nice crop. It's just the one plant, but it's always very productive. Can't even remember the name now. I think it might be Early Blue, but I'm only guessing. It's a plant that we've had for some years. It's unfortunately got an ant's nest in it now, I think. So wildlife gone mad, hey? But so we'll have to repot it, I think. But got a nice crop on there. Moving round. Grow quite a lot in pots here. So we've got some garlic in pots. Again, doing very well. And we're just trying small numbers of heritage peas. Again in pots. Doing very well, podding up nicely. Just pan you around to the wildlifey bit of the garden. Got some more heritage peas there. They have got a lovely flower actually. I'm going to take you down and show you those. It's lovely heritage pea. Look at those. They're just attractive enough, aren't they, to grow for the flowers on their own. Really nice, but podding up nicely as well, so very productive. Got some nice pods which are almost ready to be picked. Got a very colourful wildlifey bit down there with insect homes and everything else. Oh, we've got something on the bird feeder. Oh yeah, great hit there. But anyway, show you up here. Oh, we've got the famous old Crappadine beetroot, the large rooted beetroot. So we're trying that for the first time this year. We'll see how that goes. But we'll move you on around here, more in pots. More things in pots here. Grow lots of carrots in pots. So they're growing well. Got several varieties. Got Sugar Snacks 54. Oh, there's some onions there. They're doing quite well. growing nicely. I'll be gradually thinning those and then just leaving the last few to bulk up. More carrots there. So we've got sugar snacks. We've got sweet candle in pots as well, which is another lovely one. So several varieties. We've got some turnips here in pots, grow really well in pots. And up the end, near more garlic, we've got skirret, which I've never grown before. I think it's running up to flower now. It's going to perhaps go to seed, but it's a perennial root veg that was very, very popular back in sort of Tudor times. So going to be trying that. Just going to move around to the plot now. Oh, I'll just mention while we're here, because we've got a couple of small apple trees here. Katie is one of them, and that's got the apples. We've got masses of apples this year. I don't know if we can pick those out, but if we don't get a big June drop, and we are losing some about now, I think we're going to have quite a crop of apples, and we're going to have to do some thinning this year, otherwise all my apple trees will turn biennial bearing again, and we don't want that. We'd sooner have a fewer apples, better quality apples every year than loads once every other year. Okay, I'm just going to move on to the plot now. Oh, we've got our lovely blackberries are flowering nicely. You can see I've noticed the bees have been on them, so hopefully we'll get some nice fruit this year. And they're beautiful flowers, worth growing just for the flowers alone really. Below those we've got some wallflowers that should grew from seed, so they'll be lovely come the winter and spring next year. Next to those, broad beans, which are podded up nicely. They've got some nice pods, but I mentioned very hot weather, and I think that sort of caused them to stop producing about 2/3 of the way up the plant. So from there upwards, I haven't got a lot of beans. I think it was just the sheer heat meant that the flowers were dropping before they managed to produce, but nonetheless got quite a nice crop in there, almost big enough to pick. In fact, you could pick some of the bigger ones already. Don't like to leave them too long, do you? They get a bit tough. Then we've got early Onward peas, which has been a great crop this year, and we're still picking loads, so really pleased with those. And between those, a little catch crop of lettuce. Now this is a heritage lettuce. It hasn't got a very inspiring name. It's brown Bath Coss. I need to weed, don't I? Brown Bath Coss, but it's got a lovely flavour. But it's a heritage variety, which got from the Heritage Seed Library. So the seeds aren't very freely available, unfortunately. But I'm hoping to grow a few plants on and let them seed, so I can collect the seeds, because they've been really good. Even in the hot weather, they haven't bolted. And it helps, of course, that they're in between these big tall plants each side, which is shading them, so that's a good tip really. Then we've got another heritage variety, and this is a dwarf bean, and it glories in the name of Ernie's Big Eye. Ernie's Big Eye bean. Never grown it, heritage again, wouldn't be able to buy the seeds, so I should be saving a lot of these for seeds. Heritage seed variety, Heritage Seed Library variety again. But we'll see what it tastes like, have a few pods, and the rest we'll probably save. It's quite a tall growing plant, I think, but it is a dwarf, and hopefully with a bit of sunshine after this rain we've just had, they'll start to produce. Little leeks waiting to go in to replace the old leeks there. And over the way we've got some potatoes just starting to flower. This is one of my absolute favourites, Mayan Gold. Absolutely love that one. I'll take you over there. I can do it without squashing my beans and giving you a headache. But the flowers are closed up today because of the dull weather we've got. But I do love potato flowers, so pretty, aren't they? So Mayan Gold, purple flowered, and next to those some Charlotte, which is sort of pinky white. So an early variety, obviously Charlotte, grow it every year, great in pots as well for Christmas potatoes. So hopefully no signs of blight or anything like that at the moment. It's still quite early. We'll have some nice potatoes there. And another couple of novelties just to show you here to finish off. These are my Egyptian or walking onions, and you can see the heads of them, instead of producing flowers, produce these wonderful heads. So they're heads of baby onions, you can see there. And what they'll do is they'll bend over, hit the soil and start to root, or you can put a pot in compost in their way and put them in pots. And they make great spring onions, or of course you can eat the parent bulbs or replace tired parent bulbs with some nice new ones. And that's literally just one head, which would be a flowering head on another onion. It's made lots of nice little bulbs which are great to eat. Next to those, some Welsh onions, which are looking a little bit sad now, but the bees have loved those, and that is a traditional flowering onion, which you could get the seeds from. But it's great as chives. You shouldn't really let it flower if you want the best leaves, but the bees love it so much, you can't begrudge the bees. So that's our plot, and I'll take you back to the polytunnel. Okay folks, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that, and we'll try and make that a regular thing. So as things develop, we'll come back and see what's growing, and as we pick, we'll see what we're making with all these things. Just to say, if you like what we do, don't forget to visit our YouTube channel and like us on our YouTube channel. We're also on Facebook and Instagram, Pinterest, and if you'd like to see more of the magazine, if you go to www.classicmagazines.co.uk, got some great subscription offers. Or if you just want to see a sample of the magazine, if you visit our website, www.kitchengarden.co.uk, you can have a quick flick through a sample of the mag before you buy. But whatever, I hope you join us, and if you just visit us on the social media pages and like us on there, that would be absolutely lovely. So hope you've enjoyed this, and look forward to talking to you again. If you've enjoyed this video, press the like button, and also give us a comment, let us know what you're doing in the garden at the moment. And if you like our videos generally, it'd be really great if you'd subscribe to our YouTube channel.